Welcome all as we congregate to the greatest toy line in community, ever growing, ever changing. As we collect and adapt these figures to our own imaginations and embrace the fun, there's much to learn, especially if you're new to Mythics. Hey, my friends, and welcome to another episode 97 of New to Mythics. How are you guys? Good evening.
Pretty good.
It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. I try to take a breath when I start taping just to get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously to talk about Brian's show. I also had Terrence here. I invited Terrence to be on. And you know what, Terrence? I totally forgot. I was going to get a dice and roll the community project. But I can still do that, right? What do I need? A 10 and a 10 and a 20?
Yep.
You need a 10 or a 20, or you can do it on a random number generator on your phone or on your app. You can pull it up.
Okay, let's do that. Well, let's do it in a minute. I wanted to. Me and Brian were just talking about how it started. You know what? Honestly, I'm thrown off. Terrence made a script for me, and wait, where's this start here? For all the potential questions and talking points. And I messed up. I didn't start at the right, and so I'm thrown off. I need to stick to the script. Wait, it's still going. It's still going. It's still going. It's still going. Still going. And there it goes. Okay. So I need to stick to it because it is. Wait, no, it's still going. It's still going. Thank you, Terrence. I know I'm new. I'm new to Mythics. I appreciate you. I actually did go through it, and there was some good stuff in there. But I'm gonna wing it a little bit. I've got some of the stuff in my head that you suggested, so I appreciate that. Throwing me that lifeline. I appreciate it. Wow, we were just talking, Brian, before Terrence showed up about how long it's been. Just the journey for you, and I mean, no one else knows probably besides you and Stacy, but the journey that it's gone through. But I remember basically in Legion's chat, you know, I think you kind of hinted, or you kind of like, guys, you know, like you had an idea, you had kind of the genesis of a thought, of an idea, a little kernel that was. Yep. Can we talk about that? About how that little, you know, kernel or that little nugget of an idea took place? Let's start there.
I mean, after PowerCon kind of like went away there for a while, it got to that point where it's like, you know, it kind of left that hole in this area. You know, I mean, it wasn't strictly a Legion show, but it was, you know, a lot of us showed up in that area for that show, and it was like great seeing everybody. And the last one I went to, I was still learning, like getting into the community. My name wasn't really anything at that point. I mean, it probably still isn't right now, but you know, I'm still like at that point, I was still too nervous to talk to people. So, you know, so when it went away, it was gone for that first year, and I was like, you know, I was talking to some of the local guys. I talked to Brad. Like, dude, you know, you guys done a street team. Why don't we have so many great artists in Ohio? Why don't we do something? You know, and I talked to him a couple times about it, and just kind of
Brad Jones or
Brad Jones. Yeah. And we talked about it a couple times, and then it just kind of disappeared for a minute. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this, you know. I'm gonna just I don't know how much it would cost to do this or anything, but I'm gonna call some places. I'm gonna see what I can do and see if it's something that I can even pull off. Because I'm like I've said this before. I'm not a wealthy person. I'm not anywhere near well off or anything. Shits and giggles. Let's see what happens. Let's see what I can figure out about this. And it's I shopped around a little bit and I found this place that's
Oops, sorry.
I, I found
Sorry
the
about, sorry about that. I didn't know it showed up on the screen. Anyways, I'm sorry.
stick to the script.
Sorry. So yeah, I know, right? Yeah, let me check real quick. Terrence said,
But yeah, it's and it just kind of started working out and falling into place. Once I found the place, it was all about seeing if I can actually pull off getting some of the money together. And the place is awesome. They're great to work with, and
that's Cherry.
Cherry Valley Hotel.
See, I gotta.
And I don't know. I honestly didn't. I wasn't sure if I could actually pull it off, but there was a lot of, thanks to how we do at Legion's Con every year, thanks to everybody, and the other shows like Mesquite Con. And then that year I went to California and did the West Coast meetup, and it just made it all come together. And I'm still not even sure how I could pull this off to this day, and I'm still doing it.
Now, was this the Cherry Valley Hotel? Was that the first one you called, or was there other ones
No, there
before
was
that didn't
one at
quite fit?
there was one in Columbus that I really liked the location of, because that's one thing I was like, I love the place we're at in Legion's Con. There's nothing against that. Same with
Right?
all the other
Yeah.
hotels that we go to. But like, they're downtown, and you can't just, if you don't want to eat at that restaurant, you're kind of screwed unless you order out or
Right.
DoorDash something. My whole goal was to have something that was like, there's walking distant restaurants. If you want to, honestly, the hotel restaurant is great, but I don't want to, that kind of adds up after a while. So if you want to, you could hit like a Wendy's or something like that, or
Right.
something in walking distance. That was my main goal for finding a place in Columbus. And so I found one I liked. I talked to the lady, and it was like the same price as the room you just showed, but it was half a showroom. So it was like half the size of Legion's Con 22. I don't know if you have any point of reference on that one. At the La Quinta, that ballroom
Right.
that we were in for that. So it was about half the size of that for the same amount of what I got now. And so I was like thinking about it. I was like talking to ladies, like, so if I wanted to do the whole room, and she kind of gave me the blow off, have you tried to place down the street kind of thing. So I was like, okay, screw this. I kind of lost a little interest there. And then we went to Mesquite Con, and I had people walking up like, hey, I heard you're talking about wanting to do a con. Is that going to be a thing? I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm not
Yeah.
definite yet at that
I
point.
remember that. Yeah.
And the reaction I had from that, it kind of motivated me again, because at that point, after talking to that lady, it kind of just, like, well, this is stupid. This was a dumb idea, and this is what I'm going to get from all the places I talked to. So then, like, my boy, he competes in jujitsu.
Same.
He went to. He's a little badass too. So it's pretty cool. I'm proud of him.
Takes
So,
after his mama.
oh yeah, definitely, he's a badass too. But he competes at this place a couple times. And it just kind of popped in my head. We're walking around Sam's Club. I was like, I told Stacy, shits and giggles, I'm going to call this place. What's the worst they could tell me? The place is like
Right.
way more money. And the lady told me the price. She's like, yeah, it's kind of expensive at this. I was like, I was like, are you serious? That's how much it is. She's like, yeah. I was like, I just talked to this place, and like, it's not even a third of the room on the size I got now.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely interested. Let me see what I can do to get the deposit together. And that's when I was like, I'm on it. I'm gonna do what I can to make it happen.
So was there ever any kind of like doubt, or like maybe I should wait? I mean, this is a lot of money. Or was there ever any like moment where you're like, maybe, what if people don't show up? What if this is not, what if I rent this giant place and there's like two tables, me and somebody else? Like, did you ever have that doubt, or was it always just, I'm just doing it and let's see where it goes?
There has been doubt since I thought of it. It's been nonstop doubt the whole way. I'm still doubting what I'm doing to this day.
Don't
And the funny
doubt.
thing
You
is, that's the funny
got it,
thing
man.
is, right. The funny thing is, I know it's going to be fine, but I'm still scared shitless. You know,
Plus,
I'm not gonna
plus you
lie.
got a
I'm
Terrence. You got a Terrence
right,
also. So
right. It's like that Avengers part. Yeah, well, we got a Hulk. Well, I got a Terrence.
I
So
got a Terrence. That's right.
right.
I got a hype
So
man. Plus
right.
you have plus, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but you have people that support you
Right.
and believe in you. You know what I
This
mean?
whole community is amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
and I think you've seen that since the very beginning of Brian putting this together. And I think it started with, like Brian was saying, when he was going to Muskegon, when he was going to these different places and people were asking him questions. I
Mhm.
know me and you, Greg, I mean, when this first, started becoming news, like it was funny. I had, like, me and Greg were part of a chat, and, you know, I don't want this to be taken out of context, but I voiced some concerns. I was like, "How's Brian doing
I
this?"
remember that.
And like, who's behind him on this, and how, because I've been involved with some putting some stuff together, and you look at someone and you go, well, what if it goes wrong? And I meant that in a brotherly sort of way, looking out for
Oh,
you. And I think I reached out to you around the same time, was like, hey, whatever I can do to help you out, let me know. And
mhm.
it was funny because then I talked to Greg, and I don't know if Greg had known I had talked to you. And so, and Greg's like, you got to be more positive. And I'm like, trust me, I am. I'm just being
It
concerned,
was
but positive. You know what I
you're
mean? Like,
Right.
you have like the analytical mind, and I'm
yeah,
more of like I'm supporting my brother, whatever's. And you and I hashed it out,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like I was like,
But
you know, Terrence, let's just support him. Let's not focus. But I realized you weren't being negative. You were just
right,
looking at all the different possible things. But that would have just messed Brian up. Like if he,
Right.
don't
I
do
do it
this or
enough. I
don't
don't need your
try.
help. Trust me.
Right. But Terrence, you did the right thing. You reached out to Brian and
Mhm.
offered support and help. You know
right,
what I
I've had a
mean?
few
So
like
that
that when I first announced it and everything. I've said it since the beginning. I'm extremely fortunate with the amazing people that I have met and the reputation and the name I've built. People were like, I put out the whole thing, the teaser for it. It's like, hey, and I'm going to do something. I had messages popping up from people like uh Noble Bear. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm in, stuff like that. And then like the whole conversation, like I think I've told you before, like Mr. C, my whole goal is like, hey, I need to convince this man to make a trip from Florida out of his own pocket to come up to my con and show his stuff that he hasn't shown at a con for us yet. And he's a major builder in our community. And I didn't even have a chance to try it and like work up my whole pitch to him. He did it on his own. He's like, hey, I'm coming. I'm in. I was like, sweet.
that
That was
that
easy.
blows my mind because he doesn't really go to cons, right? Like he's not a
He's
big con
he's
guy.
he's done one in Florida, but it wasn't really built. It wasn't like the kind of con that would really accent what he does. He had people come up to his table. They were interested in his stuff and everything, and they thought it was cool. But there wasn't any like serious people in it. He's never really done a show that's
Right.
our community. That's his strong suit. Like that guy is like
I live an hour
amazing.
north of where Mr. C is, and I've never met him personally. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's funny. I have to go to Ohio to meet my neighbor who lives an hour south of
Right.
me. But I can't wait. I mean, like I've been
Me
watching his
neither.
work for years and commenting on it. And I remember being in a period of time where I'd tell other people about him and they hadn't seen his work yet. And
It's
it's amazing. I'm so
master
glad that he's a
class.
part of this. You know what I mean? Like,
Master class. Like,
absolutely.
and what a great guy. I've had him on the show a few times and just an amazing guy. But man, the stuff that he does is just
Mhm.
it blows my mind. So, I mean, it's crazy that no offense, but that he agreed to this, Brian. That he
Right.
was like, I'm gonna ship my stuff to you to sell, and then I'm gonna fly out. Like, he's paying for the cost of the shipping of all his stuff and sending it out there and sitting on it, and then when it's insane, and then
Yeah. I mean,
uh, the
there's been a
support.
few, right. There's a few people that I've reached out to that's never done a con, or this is their first time having a chance to. Maybe they've been on waiting lists or things like that. They haven't been able to get into like Legion's Con or something. Or like I have a local lady here that does like little like polymer clay dragons with whole
Mhm.
dice and everything. And she's bought dioramas to use at conventions that she's done before in the past from me to have displays on. I was like, the RPGs just came out. These might be kind of cool. And I sent her pictures of like Aether or Rakagor, all the like dragon people. I was like, if you could do these in their style, give them some dice. I was like, I think people will really be into them, and they're really cool little figures. So I'm
Mhm.
really excited for her to be there, and I hope people take advantage of like her being there to like pick up some stuff. She's a great lady, and she does a lot of really cool stuff. Eric Mackin, I'm gonna butcher his name. I know it. He lives in Ohio. Action figure dude, I think is the one that is.
Yeah.
He's so nervous about it. This is gonna be his first time doing something like this, and it's things like that that I'm really excited about. Is like giving those people those opportunities to try to do something that they might not have ever tried before, or might not have the
Right.
opportunity to try. Or
I mean, you're bringing people in like Mr. C who maybe some people know, like, but like fringe people that are not really part of the community, but you're, exposing them and us to,
right,
together, like bringing people together at this show that haven't really experienced the community before. So
right,
And
I
I
think that's
think
pretty cool.
And I think it's important to notice. I mean, there's so many people who we think of as being big voices in this community, guys like Curtis and Jesse. And they've always talked about how they were the type of people that were nervous or would have anxiety. And, there's such a welcoming spirit, I think, in this community that we bring people in and that there's inspiration in seeing the work that people bring to these things that I think that I hope somebody like Mr. McInerney, action figure dude.
yeah,
Let's go with that. That we hope that I would hope that our community is welcoming to him and that he comes away from that as a positive
Right.
experience. And again, even seeing somebody like I'm sure just regionally you see people that you wouldn't see at Legion's Con. You know what I mean? Because they don't
mhm,
make that trip or they don't make it out to the West Coast or the East Coast. And just talking about Mr. C earlier, I kind of imagine him going to that con in Florida that's not a mythic, con and having these incredible 1/12 displays and people walking in who play role-playing games going, it's really great, but could you make it like a lot smaller so I could have it on my role-playing table? It's just this community has a certain aesthetic and a certain desire for the scale that it has to be. And there's just how many cottage industries have come out of this. When you go to Legion's Con, you see how many different vendors that exist because of Four Horsemen, and
mhm,
the community that's grown up around it. And I think what I love about this particular venture is that it's going to be one that really welcomes creative people, maybe inspires people who aren't creative yet. Because I think another common theme you hear amongst so many people is they say, I wasn't an artist until 6 years ago. I wasn't an
Mm.
artist until, 4 years ago. I watched a YouTuber and I started doing things, I mean,
mhm,
I can't help it. I go to a lot of these cons and I see displays that are up and I go, I should buy that. But there's a part of me that is the creative part that goes, I'm going to take a photo of it and try to see if I can build it at home.
Right.
You know
Try
what
to
I mean?
make it.
mhm.
And I think that's, while that might be frustrating to the person selling it, I think there's got to be a certain sense I hope there's a certain sense of accomplishment in that you inspired somebody else to go out there and give it a shot.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, and I love, absolutely. I agree with you, Terrence. I loved that Brian's whole thought was let's bring creators together. It's
Mhm.
not like an action figure or a role playing game, type of show. It's like creators. Let's all come together and just, bring this kind of creative energy and, blow the doors off it and let's all just show what we have and be more creative. And I don't know, it's cool. It's not about making money or selling figures. It's about being creative and coming together and maybe it's showing people that aren't part of the community like what this is all about. So I think that was a great idea on your part, Brian.
It's it goes back to the initial phone call I had with Jeremy, and his at this time everything was still brand new, and the question is like, what makes me want to come to your con? That's the main thing you need to think about. And he asked me, and I was just sat there. I was like, shit. That's my thought.
uh
Like, God damn it, I'm trying to sell this to him as like a cool idea and everything. And then my first question out of his mouth, I'm like, ah, and he's like, you don't have to answer this right now, but that's something you need to think about. So I mean, Legion's Con is about what people do as well, but I really want to give that another focus in the year, like especially, and I want to do it in different ways. And it's like my goal is to have a community project every year. I would like to start, in the future, maybe have some panels with, you know, different people that you don't normally see in a panel, like talking about what they do, like Dub doing photography or something, talking about like things that they do. And,
Hmm.
you see all the ones with like, Trevor and, all the mainstays and everything, but like, it'd be kind of cool to get somebody that's more at the level that the community is at the same
Right.
time. Love Trevor to death, but I mean, I would love to see
Right.
some
Yeah.
different
Like a
people in there.
regular Joe kind of.
Right. Different customizers, I wouldn't have Curtis, but maybe I'll grab somebody else in the community that's still like uh let's say if Judas showed up.
Mhm.
I don't know if you
Mhm.
guys have been following what he's been doing. He does amazing work. I've tried to get
Yeah.
him to come out, but
Absolutely.
it's a bit of a trek for him. But like for that as an example, he does amazing work. And it'd be kind of cool to see him talk to people and be like, "Hey,
Right.
this is my approach of how I do a custom, and this is what's in my mind when I do this or that and the other." Something like that with like the low, not like the more common people that you see like
Right.
popping up and sharing their work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's. I also want this to be a way to inspire people to try things that they've never tried as well. Like, they sit in there and talk. If they go into a panel room and they like see that these people are trying, like they've only been doing it for a year or something, and this is what they're doing now. Maybe they'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe this isn't as hard as I'm thinking it is. And,
Hmm.
especially if it's somebody that's more, you're like common community member, not your big names on YouTubes or anything like that. And
So
that's the goal for it.
how did you kind of curate the room or the tables and stuff? Like, was it you were reaching out to the creators and the people that are dial makers and customizers? Like, how did you go about? Did you do that, or did they come to you? Did you reach out?
It was a fair amount of both. Like I had when I did my first post, I had, like I said, there was a few people that hit me up before they even knew what it was, and they're like, whatever you're doing, I'm in. And
Mhm.
it wasn't even people that I commonly talk to a lot. Like I love Anthony from Noble Bear, but we don't get a chance to talk a lot.
Right.
I mean, he's a great dude, and he was one of those ones that's like, I'm in. Stephen Delator, I don't get to talk to him a lot,
Right.
and he was 100% on my side, backing me all the way, and that means so much to me that people were
Hmm.
like that. And
Yeah.
then it was like, after that kind of happened, I was like, it'd be cool to have this guy. Kind of what would have this guy, and I'd reach out. It's like it's still a year plus out at that point. I'm like, I understand
Mhm.
times change, things happen, but I would love to have you there. You know, different. At that point, I was talking to Eric Miller. It's like, hey, I know you're busier. I don't know if it got. I don't know if we knew at that point that he was full time with them or what, but I was like, I know you're busier now, but it'd be cool to have you there to display stuff and everything. He's like, at that point, he's like, I'm kind of too busy to do that now, but I'm definitely coming. So it was really cool to know that he was at least going to be there. But like,
Right.
I was bouncing ideas off everybody. Like one of the things I really wanted to do was have like some of those forefathers of our customizing community,
Hmm.
your Derby, your LeBron, your
Right.
Miller. I wanted to have all those guys there. LeBron unfortunately couldn't make it because he's on his vacation, and it's going to run into that same time period. Derby was on all aboard too. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting like the veterans of what this whole idea is about.
Right.
They're representing it as well as new people that aren't really well known yet. And I wanted to curate a little bit of everything, different experience levels. I wanted to have like the different like phases of customizing in our community represented throughout the whole con as well.
Mm. Now, was it always like in July? Was that always, because that seems like the perfect time because there's not a lot
Yeah,
happening in the summer. I mean, there's little other smaller shows, but I think
right.
July in Ohio. They just they just clicked together perfect, for this kind of event. I think.
It was it was either going to be my goal was either like end of June, beginning of July. That was always the ballpark. So I don't know. Right now, this year, and next year are both going to be the weekend after the 4th of July.
Mhm.
So there's a little reveal for you.
There you
Like
go.
year two is already contract signed, deposit's already made. So it's happening already. And
See,
it will
listen
be
how
bigger.
confident you are already, man. You're
Oh, there's no confidence. I'm just, this is still a lot of hope and willpower going on right now. But like I said, I'll be like this until the day it happens. And I think that initial walking down the hall to see like if there's anybody sitting in a line like there normally is the initial. I'll feel better at that point. So you
right.
know, it's like that's my biggest fear is like, all right, it's time for it to start. Nobody. That's my
Yeah.
biggest thing. But I know it's not the way it's gonna be. Like I've seen posts, like there was somebody that made a post on one of the CarverCon posts, and he showed his map trip like thing, and he's gonna be driving over 1,000 miles to be here.
Mm.
And that's fucking crazy to me. I'm
Right.
sorry, but that is nuts to me. And then you got people flying in from Arizona, Oregon,
Yeah.
Florida, everywhere to be a part of it.
Yeah. I think Thomas Blaze is going to be there, right? I mean, he's right now he's in what, Oregon. So
Yeah,
he's
Thomas,
going to be up.
David,
Yeah. I
they're all
mean,
coming in for it.
but I think a Ohio is kind of, a nice mid, you know, mid state where, people
Hmm.
it's far, but I mean Terrence is really far, but it's far, but it's doable. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
there's a lot of Midwest people or fans that are in the area. So it's nice. And like I said, the timing is good. It all kind of works. But I think we all need an excuse to come together,
right.
and I think, you put Brian Lynn, the power and the goodness of Brian Lynn. You have, the horseman agreed to be there. You still have to tell me what you said to Jeremy to convince him. But and it's Midwest. It's like it all comes together. Like we want to meet up somewhere. We need a big place where we can all come together when we're not Legions at Legions Con. And that's what I think this is. This is like a lot of us are calling us like mini Legions Con or baby Legions Con. And that's how I see it, is like, like this is another chance for me to see all my friends again.
Right. Legion's Con is the Super Bowl. It's the WrestleMania. If you can go to one show, you go to that show. But like, there's people that have kids that have birthdays on those weekends. There's people that can't make the trek all the way there, but Ohio might be more doable.
Right.
So if you can't go to WrestleMania, go to SummerSlam. You know, if you can't go to Super Bowl, go to the All Star Game. You know, that's what I want to have is that same feel. But at the same time, I really want the creators to be able to have that other chance in the year to all come together because we don't. You know, there's so many shows, great shows. Your Mesquite Cons, your Ish Cons, your Zolos and all that stuff. But like, there's always a handful of us here and there. You know, there's never a like there's East Coast they're drowning in shows, but like especially where we're at, they don't really get that, and like those collectors, our creators don't get to come together as much as
Right.
they do for Legion's Con. So this is that opportunity to be able to go out and get things from your favorite creators more than once a year,
Right.
and that's the goal is to keep building that and making it more and more every year.
Yeah. And I know that you've been busy. I mean, you're always busy, but you've been busy yourself. I have a few pictures of a few of the things that you're working on, but I wanted to ask before that about the community project. You mentioned it earlier. How did that come about, and then how did it happen where this guy was involved? Can you kind of go over that, and then I'm gonna roll the dice after that. So
Okay.
tell me about the community project, and then how Terrence got involved, and then let's talk about that.
So there's a funny story with the whole community project idea. A couple, it was probably almost 3 years ago now. Me, John Moore, and David Williams, we were talking about doing a show, a YouTube show, like a recorded thing. And the whole idea was that it was going to be about customizing or just creating and things like that. And this was before the Art by Ackerman stuff and everything came along. So it was along the same lines, but it was going to be like things like how to repair your figures and this, that, and the other. And then
Mhm.
it was like, why don't we have like community projects at the end of each show? Because it was going to be a once a month show.
Mhm.
And at the end of the show, we'll be like, hey, here's the community project for this week. Complete it, post it with this hashtag, and we'll feature some next time around, kind of thing. And it didn't pan out. I really wish it did. The funny thing is, Stacy actually has a shirt with the name on it. So if you ever see a picture of her with a shirt that says Legion's Workshop in it, that's what it was. So yeah, that was the fun idea behind it. And like, there was a couple different. We had like maybe half a dozen ideas for a community project. I was like, like Terrence has done the swig thing. I was like, that's cool. We can try and find a way to do something. Everybody can bring them together. And this was one of the ideas I had for that show, was like the whole roll the dice thing. And with the RPG coming out, it just made it feel more appropriate for the time. And so I was like, just screw it. Like, I figured out what all the dice things were going to be and everything. And then I eventually reached out to Terrence. I was like, hey, man, you know your stuff on how to get all the stuff. You got your experience with swig stuff, how to take them and get them back to the right people and everything like that. It was like,
I think that was more Gina. I don't think that was Terrence. I think Terrence was just the face and the voice, but I think Gina was the one that did all the work on that. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to interject there.
But yeah, I was like, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, would this be something you guys be up to like running if I put it out there? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. So, and now he's starting to ramp that up for me.
So, okay. So let's get into it, Terrence.
So yeah, I mean, we, like I said, I reached out to Brian pretty early on and said, hey, listen, whatever you need, let me know. We were going to be there no matter what, whether we were there as attendees or whether we were there in some kind of way, whether we were just volunteering and helping out around the booths, picking up trash, whatever it would have been there. You know what I mean? We knew we wanted to support this. And I think there's that general sense. I think there's a lot of folks in the community who probably feel that way in regards to when any of us have a really big idea, or, maybe it's an idea we're not sure it's a big idea yet, but we think we can turn it into a big idea, by, showing up in numbers and supporting it. And this was definitely a worthwhile idea, I think. You can tell Brian was passionate about it. I think a lot of the things that he has said, as far as PowerCon disappearing, and I was already somebody who would go to PowerCon. I went to PowerCon out when it was on the West Coast. I went to PowerCon in 23 for the last show they had there. I was sad when it went away, but I remember the first time I went to PowerCon in Columbus, I remember my attitude of being like, why Columbus? Like, what's in Ohio? What am I going to do in Ohio? You know what I mean? Like, and that's just because I don't really know a lot about Ohio. When I used to go out to the West Coast, I would try to turn it into like a multi-day thing where I'd go to Disney or something like that, having been to PowerCon 23 was the first year I got involved with Four Horsemen. So, I mean, coming off of that, like, and knowing that Brian was, and how many people I've met from that Ohio area, whether it's, Dirk's Designs or Brad Jones or Brian, I mean, there's so many quality, people, I mean, that we've met that are part of that community.
Right.
And again, as said earlier, not to, beat a horse, but it's something I'm very good at, is the fact that there are so many creators who I just don't think are making it out to the East Coast, to Legion's Con, that you see their work online. And this is another place where they can be represented and they can come together. So, we couldn't wait to be part of it. And when, Brian, I think, reached out to me I know we talked about it at Legion's Con. He came up to the swig room and just said, just want to make sure I was still on board. And I said, absolutely. We talked a little bit more going in through the holidays and, kind of fine tuning a timeline of how we would do things. And, these last few months, it's been a matter of just trying to get the word out there more. I think with the RPG and the idea behind this, I think it's a very easy thing to do, to roll dice, as you're about to demonstrate for us.
That's right.
But, and Brian has put together such a great chart there that, helps you, you roll your dice, you figure out your species, you figure out your faction, and you figure out your occupation, and then go wild.
Where did it go? No. Oh, no. I missed the slide. Oh no, where did it go? Oh crap. Let me see if I can add it. Keep talking. Keep talking.
But yeah, so I mean, like, the idea of taking,
That was a genius idea.
it's really not complicated. It's three simple rolls, two 10-sided, one 20-sided, and you have everything mapped out for you. Now, you don't have to have a huge Mythic Legions collection, and you can do this any way you want. Whether you want to do a simple pop and swap, whether you want to go and get some 3D printed parts, if you want to kit bash stuff from a different line with, some of the parts you have from your Mythic Legions, and it's funny, in my own personal project for this, I've watched myself overcomplicate it and then find that I had everything I needed after I went out and bought more stuff. But I think that's probably the process for a lot of customizers out there. I had gone out and bought like 2 or 3 different figures at different shows I was at over the last several months, and then came home and pulled apart a Jersey Devil and took the head out of the heads pack for the demon. And I'm still messing with a few last minute pieces. For the record, I rolled Demon.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I rolled Demon, Xylonia's Flock, and Assassin. So at first I was like, I don't know, a Demon. But then you have folks like Gina had rolled. I think she got Skeleton, Aetheron. I think so. Like, you'd almost think those are two completely opposite type things, but like. But we've been playing with it. She's got her work cut out for her, but she's obviously the better customizer out of the two of us. So she's the better painter,
She has become quite the pro.
She's getting there. I mean, I think she's a great example of what a show like this is. She went, we were just at IshCon as an example, and it was actually pretty emotional because, this is her third IshCon, her first IshCon. She walked up to Pete Johnson, Pete's Prince table, and asked me if I thought she was crazy because she wanted to buy a lion head 3D print sculpt. And I said, no, go ahead, go for it. And, and she bought a couple more, and then she took them home, and she eventually painted them, and now she's knocking out projects pretty regularly. I mean, she's gone on a couple sabbaticals, I guess you might call them, but she gets inspired to pick the brush up again. And when she does, she's just a happier person. It's a very mellowing experience for her.
I agree.
And I think that's one of the things that's great to get the word out is, number one, you don't have to be a pro, and you shouldn't hold yourself up to the standards that you see other people.
Have fun.
I think every artist I know thinks that they're the worst artist. They think there's other people that are better than them, and so I don't want anyone to feel as if they're not good enough to be part of this project, or, the whole idea of art is it's an evolution. You know what I mean? Like, you're constantly getting better. The more work you put into it, the better you're going to get. And when you walk into that room, trust me, everyone started somewhere, and everyone's on their own path, their own journey of exploring their, creative side.
Right.
And I hope that people come there, even if they've never picked up a brush, if they've never cut a piece of foam, and it's just fun, and you'd be surprised at what you might find yourself. I know people who've picked up a brush and said, no, I'm just terrible. Don't give up on yourself. Keep trying, you know what I mean? And heck, I just love watching videos. I mean, I can get lost on Instagram watching work that people put out, you know what I mean? Scrolling.
Right.
Sadly, most of the time in the bathroom, where like I get up off the seat and find that my legs are asleep. But it's just, are you still in there? Yeah, I am. Anyway, so but it's just a matter of, there's just so much great work out there, and you find inspiration from so many different places. And I feel like people are going to come to this show and walk through the venue and see different tables and see, different types of art, whether it's dial makers, whether it's 3D printers, whether it's painters, whether it's soft goods makers, toy photographers. There's so much out there. And I love Brian's idea of, tapping upon people who are not the typical, like I go to IshCon and they've had Trevor and they've had D Amazing and they've had other people. But yeah, it's great to get somebody like Dub, or, get somebody like Kevin Boots maybe, or somebody who, maybe, their work is incredible. It's not that it's any less than anybody else's. It's just that I think when you're not necessarily the paid guy from Mezco or the paid, professional for Horseman, people can at least put themselves in the shoes of that person and go, this is somebody who does this on their weekends or their free time. And what are they doing it when they don't have all the resources of all the highly expensive cameras and light boxes and all the different things? What effects are they using? And these are people who can tell you where they started. Maybe they started a year or two ago, and where they are along the journey to give them the pro tips, if you will. The ways of getting into this in a much more accessible way. Because I love going to intern. We went to intern, and you get to see Trevor's equipment, and you get to see all the stuff he has. And if you're going to go home, you probably don't have that stuff. You know what I mean? Like handy. But I just think that this is going to be a great show to introduce people to their creative side or to expand upon it,
Right.
and I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that, and I was thinking about the swig thing. It's like it's a safe place to show what you created. There's no one's being judged. No one's saying, "Oh, that doesn't belong here." Like everyone, and that's why it was fun, was that everyone had a chance to participate, even people that don't customize like me. It's like I put something together, I pop and swapped and kind of made something, and it was fun. It was fun to be creative and to put it on the table. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen here, right? So this community project thing is basically the three things that Terrence was saying, that you pick a faction,
factions, and then you get your species, and then you get your occupation,
profession, right?
Yeah.
And so once you have these three items, then you create the figure based off of your random rolls, right?
Sure.
Okay, so let me do mine. I've got the dice here. Where'd it go? I've been putting it off. Okay, so I've got the random roll dice here. So this is a 10-sided, so I'm going to pick the 10. So I've got the 10-sided dice here, and I'm going to roll it. And let's see what I got. Is it rolling? What did I get? I got a 7. So
Basilia.
The Convocation of Basilia. I got to write this down or I'll forget. Basilia.
So you're a magic user.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually my favorite faction. I didn't rig that. Okay, so next we're going to do species, and that's also a 10. So I'm going to roll. I'm going to clear it. Do 10, and we're going to roll it again. Camera's kind of off. Let's see here. Where's my finger? 9. So I'm an elf. All right. That's kind of easy, right? Elf magic user. And then last is profession or occupation, like what Terrence said. So that's a 20. Let's see, clear 20. Okay. Here we go. Roll. That beautiful bean footage, 13. Soldier. Okay. So I'm a magic elf soldier.
The whole idea was this, like, it was also to get people, maybe, there's certain people that like to make certain things. And, doing this will maybe get them out of their wheelhouse a little bit,
right.
Make them start thinking. And there's like sometimes, like, I've talked to people that did their roles and they're like, wait, how's this going to make sense? That's up to you.
Make it work. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
have
totally
fun.
Right. I mean, you could make a bio for your character if you want to. You can name them if you want to. You can have a whole story as why this skeleton was Ezron, or why the bad guy isn't with the bad guys anymore. Why this, that, the other. Why the good guy is over there where he shouldn't be. It's totally your call. That's the best part. That's the whole idea. Is I want you to make up and be creative with. Just have fun. That's the biggest rule of all of it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the whole idea. It's like, I mean, in fact, I've come to embrace the stranger, like maybe contradictory as the roles might come up, it gives you more of an interesting of probably a more complex character that's probably a
Right.
lot more fun. Like again, a character like a skeleton that's in Etheron makes you wonder like how did that happen? How did they
Right.
change sides? Or were they a knight that somehow even after they died they still stayed allied to the
Mhm.
order?
Kind of gets your creative juices flowing
Absolutely. I
and
mean, and that's the thing. I mean,
Mhm.
you are creating an art piece, but the thing is, in your mind, you have your own canon for what that story
right.
is behind that character. And I mean, some people might just cobble together something, and that's fine. That's
Right.
acceptable. But I think you could have a lot of fun, even if you only spend a small exercise in your head thinking out, like,
Right. Build
you
some
know,
lore. Build
who
some
is this
lore for your
character and who do they
Mhm.
interact with, and like where are they in the history of mythos if you're into all that stuff, which I am, but
Right.
it's just a lot more fun, I think, and makes it a little bit more real to you, I guess, so to speak.
we still there?
Yep. You,
Okay. Yeah,
you
I
good?
moved the computer and it messed up the internet for a second. Sorry
For a
about
second, I
that.
thought we lost you. You looked like you were like solid. I was like, freeze
I am
frame.
solid. Let's switch gears real quick. I wanted to how long did it take you to figure out the table layout, and was there some kind of like strategy behind that? Did you kind of just throw balls and, like the lotto and pick
Honestly,
numbers?
doing the floor plan has probably been one of the more fun things to do with this. Like I was like it's gone through some different changes here and there. Like there was more tables originally just because I didn't know how many people I was going to have, so I had a
Hmm.
big basic layout of how I wanted everything in case. So like towards the end I was able to start shaving things down where it needed to be. And it's I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. But
Hmm.
placing people was a lot of fun. I had some people say, "Hey, can I be by this person or this
I
person or
did
this person?"
that.
Right. And the
You're
only
like,
reason why you
sure,
ended up
sure,
over there is
yeah.
because somebody else canceled and that freed up a spot where you ended up. So then
Great.
I was able to
Awesome.
move some stuff around. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I was trying to keep people like around each other that would make sense. Like I wanted to keep Tanya and Stacy close by so that way they can interact with people that want to talk to them from the show.
Right.
And there was going to be like a Legion's Ladies live table between us and them with Curtis. So it was going to be like, so that way they could both come to the table and, do that table as well as their own. So we just kept them next to each other. So there's that.
Hmm.
And then you got your Wolf King guys up there, like in the small six table island, um, stuff like that. And those the little round tables over there on the side, those are going to be set up with some painting stations so people can paint if they want to.
Nice. Great idea.
At first, I was kind of bummed that that one side is pretty open, but at the same time, I'm also going to use that as motivation because I want a table everywhere next time around.
Right.
I'm gonna keep trying to make. I'm gonna stay at this hotel until I fill that room. That's my
Right.
goal. And I want tables like you can fit over 100 tables in this room. I
Mhm.
want to do that. I want to be able to pull it off at least once.
I mean,
So that's the
it's
goal.
nice to be able to have some room to grow as well,
Right, right.
like you have some space, but it had to be a relief when like people started paying for their table because it's like, oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 I'll be there. I'll be there. But like when people were actually
Hmm.
putting their money where their mouth is and like you're like, okay, they're gonna be here, they're gonna be here, they're gonna be here. Like that had to
Right.
be like a relief for you too, right? Like it's
Oh yeah.
almost like it's confirming like that this is really freaking happening. I paid for this to happen, but like I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone's going to show up yet. But now when people are starting to really commit, they're booking rooms, they're paying for their table. That's got to be like a good feeling for you. Like, okay, this is
Oh
really
yeah.
freaking happening.
Yeah. It's over the time I've gained some, I've lost some here and there. AWOC was involved for a while, but Jason had to back out last week. So I mean, I was a little bummed with it, but it's like I understand totally. Sometimes, like I said, things change in a year. So it's totally
Mhm.
understandable. So I mean, it's a lot of it's just making do with what I can, and like making some lemonade out of lemons. Sometimes. So it's worked out. I'm really proud of this because like when I initially said this, I was like, it'd be cool to get 60 tables.
Mhm.
That was my original goal. And then like I started looking around. I looked at LegionCon 22, and I think they had 75. I was like, you know what? My new goal is 75. So I mean, it'd be nice to get the same size, kind of thing
Right.
going on. But at the end, 63 rooms, 63 tables isn't a bad deal. I'm really
Dude.
proud of this whole outcome. I'm excited to see it. Like, it's one thing to see it on this paper, but like, I can't wait to actually see, like, after everybody's done setting up and they're all out of the room, just to take a quick lap around and just see everything and see it all actually like in person. And I've said it like in the Legion's chat, I'm gonna be an emotional shit that whole weekend, and I know it. I'm gonna like probably freaking cry or some shit, but like I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome because
I
this
mean,
is
I don't blame you. I mean, this is if you build it, we will show up, and
and
people are
that
going to show up, dude.
and that's the thing is like this con. I've said it a couple times. Is like this con has been built by the community, and it's the truth. It's that room has been paid for by a bunch of pillars and a shitload of torches, and it's all because of you guys. That's I have
Yeah,
no backing. I have nobody helping me financially. This is y'all. And
but
it's you're that's it's crazy. That's one of those things that's
right, but
overwhelming.
if you were a shit, there would be no one would come.
Right.
So you had to give yourself credit. You and Stacy, you guys are loved in this
Yeah.
community, and you made the call and people answered, and I'm grateful for that because I would have been really bummed if no one, if it kind of died. So I'm grateful that the community has rallied and is really excited about this. And you've got passes, dude. Look at this, man.
Yeah.
You've got
That's
look at that, dude.
that's another
Legit.
one of the things for the whole concept was like I wanted the community's creativity on display. There's things I wanted to do that I just didn't have time and maybe some money things here and there, but like I'm gonna keep adding on to it. But like this is one of the things that when the original plan happened, I was like, I want to do these badges and I want to feature photographers on it, you know? And it kind of goes along the same way with the whole panels idea. I reached out to Nate. He's well known. He did that the amazing barbarian picture. Thomas Belay, who's what one of my great friends, like, and
Such a
he
good
did an
guy.
amazing. Yeah, he's awesome. He did that great picture. And then this one's special because it's Ryan.
Hmm.
Ryan's been like stepping up his photo game for like the last year. And he's done a bunch of really cool pictures. And when I reached out to him, he was really, I don't belong here kind of thing. And I totally believe in Ryan and everything he could do.
Right.
Like he's a great dude and he's fucking amazing at taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah. No,
So
he is for sure. Yeah.
he's one that he was one of the ones that I really wanted to have involved. And I'm glad that he did it. And as you see here, he killed it like he always does.
Killed it. Killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing and he did a great job. So, and the cool thing is like he was worried about putting torches in. I was like, dude, you're the only one that's using one of my dioramas, so that means a lot to me.
Right.
I was like, and then he still put the torches in, and it's like he did a great job on this, and I'm really happy with
I
that one.
agree. I agree. Yeah, that's awesome. We don't have that mentality where it's like you don't belong here. You definitely
Right?
belong. If you want to be
This is,
here, you definitely belong here.
you're gonna belong, and you're gonna like it, buddy.
That's right.
You're
So
gonna belong or else.
I have a few slides of the stuff that you're working on, just things that you posted. I
Yeah,
I dig these. These are awesome.
those are kind of a full circle kind of thing for me because that is the original plan from making torches came from a night that Chris James came up and stayed with us for a weekend about probably almost 5 years ago now. And we were outside taking some pics with some mythics, and I had an idea to use a campfire, and I have like Friday the 13th stuff, and there's a neck of campfire in it. So I got it, and we took one picture, and I was like, this doesn't look right because we were trying to use a light to light it up and make it look
Yeah.
cool. I was like, I think I have a tea light somewhere. I'm gonna go and tear it apart and shove it in there and see what I can make it happen. And the picture is probably one of my best pictures I've ever taken. And I after that, I kind of just started thinking, was like, hey, what if I can do the same thing but in a different way to make it look this way,
Mhm.
kind of thing. And that's where the torches came from. So, and that's when I first started, there was like a list of 30 things I wanted to make, and the campfire was number one because it was like I want to do my own version of it, but I wanted to do it a certain way. It's like I like the ones where you can set them on the tea light candles
Mhm.
and they look cool and they look just great. But I wanted to do it so it was flat on the ground and it didn't look like there was a T light like hidden in there
Right.
somewhere. So it's wireless, and that's my version of it. And it's like a full circle moment. And actually, right now, the prototype of that is on its way to Chris James
Nice.
because of that moment.
So these will be for sale though, right? At
Yeah,
CarverCon?
I'll have 32 of them. So if you're interested,
You'll have 31 actually. So
okay, I've been hearing that a lot. So
I'm poor. I'm poor. So this is something else that you've revealed.
Well, all right. The one on the left is one that I've had for years now. It's one of my best-selling hand torches. But everything I've made so far, like sculpt, I don't even know if you want to call it sculpting, and all my torches have been done on a program called Tinkercad. It's very basic because it's like you're stacking shapes together. You can't do anything really highly detailed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that I always wanted to get better at. Like that's the main reason why the campfire has never happened in all those years until now. So on the one on the right, at Xmas time, we got a new iPad, and then I got ZBrush, and I was like, yeah, screw around and see what I can do with it. I've tried other programs, and they just made me feel stupid. But like, I started messing around with it, and the first thing I made was the campfire.
Mm.
And so I'm like, all right, well, I never liked how this looked because it's really, the quality of it's not great. I mean, in a picture, it looks what it's supposed to, but like, it's one of those things is, it's like, you could do better with it. So the one on the right is the new version made with ZBrush that will be available as well. It's upgraded. And as well, like one of the things I've talked to Dirk probably for the last 2 years, but I don't want to bother the man because I know he's busy, about making like flames for me, like a few different styles of flames, so that way I can upgrade some stuff on because that's one thing I never liked was my flame design. I've always wanted to change it, but it also falls into the whole crappy program thing. So that was the next thing I made. I made like 4 or 5 new flame designs. So all my torches will have these new flames now from now going on forward. So when you get like a set of tall torches, they won't have the same the same flames on them. Same thing. All the pillars that will be available at CarverCon all have the new flame styles in them.
Nice.
So they're a lot more detailed. They look better. Yep. A lot of the stuff is like I want to make new things, but at the same time, I want to fix some of the things that always kind of irked me.
Yeah. Well, you're at that level now where you can improve upon the things that you started initially.
Yeah, and I'm still very basic with what I'm doing on ZBrush. So huge thanks to like Jake Rawson, because he's
what a good guy.
He's great, and he's also somebody that's really starting to do a lot of really great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not familiar with him, go look him up, and also hit his table at CarverCon because he's gonna have a lot of really cool stuff, great face plates and things like that.
Yes, amazing.
So like if I get hung up, like the problem with me is like I want to look up what I need to do, but I don't know the terminology.
Mm-hmm.
And some big word, I'm like, that's cool. I don't
that
know.
Thing.
But if
I want to do that thing,
right.
that does this, yeah.
Yeah, and the sad part is when I look it up, that's what it sounds like in my head. That's exactly what I'm typing. I want to do this, but that, and this thing. And then it's like, hey, how many sausalito, this, that, and the others? And I'm like, what? So then I just like, hey, Jake, how do I make this happen? You need to go there, this, and that. And I'm like, sweet, you're my hero. So the campfire wouldn't happen without Jake's patience, and I appreciate him for it.
This blows my mind, dude. Like
that is a Nate Strong idea. He sent me a message like, hey man, have you ever thought about trying to make something like this? I was like, I thought about it, but I've never really thought about how to, because up until now, everything's been wired just because it's cheaper to make and it's cheaper for you to buy.
Right.
So this is completely wireless, and yeah, it's just something that Nate threw at me, and I'm like, let's see what I can think of. And I found some lights and got them in, and it just kind of all came together. So Nate actually has the first one heading to his house right now.
Nice. That's insane.
Because and along with one of his badges that he made.
His badges. If you're paying attention, all you need to get some free stuff from Ryan is to be the first one to come up with the idea for it. You might get yourself a campfire. You might get
I like
yourself
that.
a hanging chandelier of torches. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I always like hearing ideas and stuff. I'm very. It's funny when I get ideas thrown at me because a lot of the ideas I get are way outside my league. Like, yeah, that'd be cool. I can't pull that off, but it'd be really cool, kind of thing.
It gets your mind though going. It gets your
Right. So I mean,
creative
it's
juices.
sometimes when I can do it, I'm going to try my best to do it, and I'm really proud of how the chandeliers came out as well. Like
And you,
that's the,
so, go ahead.
no, that's one I could have always done. I just didn't know how to go about the lighting part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think the lights, the more they're smaller now, and they're able to be wireless too. So everything's getting smaller. And speaking of getting smaller, not a good segue, but your lady here is shrinking. But this shirt will be available at the show.
I will have some extras available. I did a pre-order for them, so those are all turned in. Dave Orkin's making those for me, so they will be available at the Karvar Customs table. So if you want to pick one up, if you bought one, that's where you'll pick them up from. If you want to try and grab one, I have some sizes. I hope they will fit. So we'll go from there.
Great shirt too. Great shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And great model. Good job, Stacy. Let's see here. So wanted to ask Terrence, what is it? So I noticed that you don't have a table per se for yourself, but you have the community project table. So what is it that you're going to be doing
So
at the show?
Well, we'll be there to intake all the art projects. Number one, that'll be our primary focus. I may end up doing some double duty depending on how things shake out, but we'll see how that works out. I'm working a little bit with Sunya Das and possibly with Jason from AWOC to see if we can maybe still make sure that AWOC is represented in some form, way or another. Again, we're down to the last 3 weeks or so it's a matter of logistics and whatnot. But these are this is a situation where these creators want to be there, and it just falls in line with the fact of what I'm doing with Creative Realms as far as trying to represent independent toys. That that's definitely an important aspect that I want to help them if I can. So we'll see how that works out. But first and foremost, we'll be there to take the swigs. Oh my goodness. We'll be there to take the community art projects in.
Yes. Not swigs.
Not swigs this year. I'm swigs on the brain. But anyway, we'll be taking those art projects in. I had actually sent Brian a sample of a placard that we're thinking of giving out to people that they can fill in, that they'll put with their character, so that it'll identify what the name of the character is, what the different things they rolled, how that came up, so that when people want to come in and take a look at the display, we have some ideas of how we're going to make the tables look as far as, displaying the factions and whatnot. Because I'm curious. I'm curious, obviously, at the moment we're going on the gentleman's agreement that people are going to be honoring the rolls they rolled. But of course, people might say, oh, I got this and I got that. And honestly, it's just about creativity. So I really, I'm not as bent over that, but it'll be interesting to see which factions, which species get the most representation. Right. I think it'll be a lot of fun because I'm personally of the belief that 30 people could roll the exact same thing and walk away with completely different, takes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I got a demon, but I don't know why, but I instantly thought he had to be a purple demon. Nothing to do with Jeremy Govier, but I'm just saying he had to be a purple demon. So,
absolutely.
So he, I wanted to go outside. I think I've always loved about the Mythic Legion's demons so far is that we've gotten a lot of the colors represented, but we don't have a purple one yet. So mine will be purple. But the idea being that, like I said, Gina's working on hers. I've had the pleasure of seeing a couple of other people's in progress community art projects, and they look spectacular. I know J Low Fidelity has one that's coming. I know that, I've seen some other folks that have said they're coming, and they've given me ideas of what they're working on. I know there's some people that have rolled their rolls even if they're not coming, just to be
Mhm.
part of the.
Right.
And that's fun too. But we will be there to make sure everyone gets their project back, just like we have at 1,000 Swigs. I mean, I guess that's first and foremost. We had that experience behind us to prove that we were capable of doing that. But we can't wait. Again, it's been said here before. I think that this is a great experience. I get to see different people throughout the year at different shows, but we're never as together as we are maybe in New Jersey in November. You know what I mean? But this is an opportunity, I think, for so many of us to come together. And I think that people, after this show will see so many pictures, so many videos of the kind of fun that we have, just seeing each other in the lobbies, hanging out, maybe going to dinner, all that kind of stuff. That I think it's the kind of stuff that's infectious, that people are going to want to be a part of this the year after. But I feel first and foremost that this is going to be the first Legion's Con, first Carver Con, and I think that you only get one chance at the first one. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't you want to be a part of this? Why wouldn't you want to come out and just be part of this great experience? If you have the means, by all means, I think you should definitely get there if you can.
I agree. So for tickets and things like that, it's through Eventbrite.
Mhm.
Brian, can you tell us how we go about getting tickets for the show?
So I don't have a website this year, and that's something we'll look into for next year. But if you go to CarverCon on Facebook or Instagram, on Instagram it's in the bio. It'll take you so you can either get a hotel room or you can get tickets from that way. Hotel room, the blocks are good until next Friday, I believe. That's when our block is
Get on it.
closed. Yeah, we have less than 10 rooms last time I checked with her. So that's been maybe 3 or 4 days now. So it might have changed as well.
Right.
So don't miss out on your chance to get in on that block price. I mean, it's only 148 a night. So that's not too bad. I
It's
mean,
getting late, guys. It's okay.
right.
It's okay. No worries.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one thing. One of my main goals for doing this con was I wanted it to be an affordable con for people to do. Like I wanted the vendors to show up and not have to pay a shitload for their tables, so that way they can walk away with some money in their pocket. I wanted to find a good venue so that people didn't have to pay out, a bunch of money for staying a night. I'm a cheap bastard, so I wanted people to. I am always going to say that I'm a cheap bastard. So I wanted to make it affordable for anybody to be able to do this con.
Right.
If you're willing to make the trip, I want you to be able to do it and have fun doing it and walk away with anything that you want from these amazing creators without having to break your bank as much as possible.
Is it too late to book a table?
It's not. If you want to reach out, and I've got room. You saw that side of that room. Like I
Right.
said, that's my motivation.
I mean, I'm trying to, get that room filled.
Yeah.
Please reach out to Brian. The price is not bad at all. So compared to a lot of other shows, it's very, like he's saying, he's cheap bastard and he's, giving us a good value. The table is a really good price.
Your table would be 125. You get a 10-foot by 10-foot spot.
There you go.
And an
There you
8-foot
go.
table you can display and set it up however you want from that point on. Little heads up, if you're a vendor, table prices will be a little bit more next year, but it's because it's going to be more than one day.
Right.
Another little reveal.
I
So,
like it.
because
Thank
that's
you.
one of the things that I heard from a couple vendors. Like, we'd love to do it, but it's only one day, and that's a little to go for just one day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll fix that next year.
Yeah. And I think once the first one, I hate to say, once the first one is over, then people will kind of see like, oh man, look at all these, pictures and videos and all, who showed up and all that. They're going to see that this is definitely a con to go to. So they're not going to want to miss out for the second one, definitely. And we've got Terrence. I mean, Terrence.
Right. We got
Plus,
Terrence.
we've got the Latin Legion boys.
Yep.
They're showing up. We got Legion's Lair. I mean,
They'll
come
be there
on,
walking the floor, so they'll
walking
be
the
all over
floor.
the place.
And who's this clown? I don't know who that guy is. But
Somebody,
some guy. But it's going to be a great time, man. There's so many people so many great people, so much fun. I mean, why
Also,
not go? It's
also another thing about this con is like, there's gonna be people coming through the door, but like let's look at it this way. Legion's Con, if you're a creator, you never leave your table. You can't go shopping. This
right,
might be that opportunity for you to get out there and shop and support your fellow creators as well. There's going to be 63 tables worth of people, customers already in there to help out other people, and then add in the other people that are going to be coming through the door.
right.
So we're going to have a good time. It's going to be a great
It's
time.
gonna be a
I
great
think
I
the
time.
other
just,
thing too is, again, it's just it's such a great opportunity to have access to the people. This is not, there's no gatekeeping in this community. This is an opportunity for people to come in, pick the brains of some of these creative people, really, engage with them. I mean, I think there's so many people that, the shows that we go to, the friendships we make with people that are there, I think that's going to happen at this show too. I think there's going to be unique connections made, and I think that, again, this show to me is more about the creativity aspect more than the collecting aspect, as far as, the things that you get, you hear about in other cons as far as celebrities and exclusives and things like that, that happens. But I think that, you know, one of the things that I really appreciate about Legions Con, and I think it's going to even be bigger at Carver Con, is the fact that it's more intimate, that it's going to be a sense of
Right,
where you're going to be able to come there and really appreciate the artistry of these people in this community and what they come up with, and it's not going to be behind glass, and you're not going to have a problem being able to talk to the creator who
right,
actually made that incredible work. You can talk to them. They're going to tell you how they did it. They're going to show you how they did
right,
it. And I think that when you buy something like that, it's even more personal when you know the stories behind it, when you know the people behind it, and I think that if you've gone to Legion's Con in the past, you might be ready for what this is. But if you've never been to an experience like that, you don't have to be a Mythic Legions collector. You could be someone who just
right,
appreciates, the craft of it, and you might become a Mythic. I can't guarantee that you won't become a Mythic Legions,
right.
collector after this, but you don't have to be to walk in the door and appreciate what you're going to see at this show. I mean, to see something like by Mr. C as an example, or to see art by David Williams, or photography by Thomas Belay, or any of these kinds of
Right.
things, you're going to come there and see this, and I think immediately want to see more of it.
It's gonna be a cool show.
Yeah.
Definitely. So tickets at the door as well. You
yep.
can buy
You
tickets
can,
in advance. Tickets at
if you,
door at the same price.
yeah, if you order your tickets on Eventbrite, you will be able to pick up your badges Saturday night starting at 5 o'clock. So that way you'll be ready to go Saturday morning. You won't have to worry about standing in line trying to get your badge on Saturday morning. So you'll be able to check in Saturday night, on Friday night starting at 5 o'clock. If you're already there at the hotel, you can go up to the desk and have people there. They'll get you your badge, check you in, and everything. Saturday morning, if you're there at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I know people are going to be in line, so go up there about 8 o'clock to check to get your badges. Um, just show up, have some fun, hit that horseman table, clean it out, and
Absolutely.
that's my goal was to have a con. I have a con. My next
You have a
goal,
con, buddy.
my next goal is to have some full size statues from the horsemen, and
Con.
I want the whole horseman experience next time around. I want them full force. That's my next goal.
They're
So
watching. You know what I mean? Like who's coming? I
it's gonna
know
be Joe
Brad.
Vassapolo and Brad Treadaway.
Hmm.
Those are the ones that the studio picked, but then like Eric got hired, so Eric Miller lives
Right.
hour and a half away, so he's coming. Brian Borgman, he's working on the role playing game stuff as a game
Right.
designer. He'll be there. He lives in Columbus area. Um,
Is
and
it
David's gonna be there. I know he's not technically a horseman, but like he's a contributing artist, and he's been
right?
doing a lot of great stuff with them. So you
Uh,
know what? It counts to me. So
Absolutely, me
and
too. So
he's my buddy. So
Travis Bowles is the is
yeah,
he's going to be the street team.
yep. Trav is
Okay.
going to be the street team guy. Plus, we have a few companies there. Other companies, Sumi Adas's group, And of course, he said something about working with AWOC to have them represented still. So
Right.
hopefully that works out. Plunderlings, that was another one that I really was wanting to get there, and
Yes.
they're going to be coming. Cleo Legends just joined on after AWOC jumped out. Cleo Legends jumped in, which is really cool because they're a local toy line, and I had no idea. I didn't have a chance to get out to see them at LegionSCon last year, so I'm looking forward to meeting them and seeing what all they have with them. So it's gonna be a fun time.
Jeff's a
lot of
great
fun.
guy. Yeah, I've been dealing with Jeff over the last several months, talking to him about his forthcoming Kickstarter, and we've been going back and forth with ideas about that. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Jeff at the show. Jeff is the gentleman behind Calio and or Clio, and it'll be a great opportunity to see it early before it actually gets to Kickstarter. So check it out.
For sure. Yeah,
And
it's
we'll
going to
also
be an
have
awesome
Warlords
show.
of War, Glyos people, Gabe Behringer, he'll have Glyos there, so you'll have your Glyos hookup.
Make sure you check out the Glyos table. I recommend
Absolutely.
it.
Definitely check out the Glass table for sure. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. I can't tell you how proud I am. I always say I'm proud of you for building this and starting it. I'm grateful. I'm glad to be a small part of it. I can't wait to be there, to see all my friends. Is there anything else that you can think of? Any kind of other details? Anything that you want to bring up?
I have something that I got printed out for it. That's really something special that I haven't seen any other cons do for our community members. Keep an eye open for it. It's something that I'm proud of to have there, and it's special. So you'll know it when you see it. I'm not sure where it'll be setting yet. I'm thinking it might be over by the community project. It might be over by the Horseman table. I want it somewhere that everybody can see it because it's an important thing to me.
Okay.
So keep your eyes open for it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those good things. There's gonna be people represented that can't be there now.
Nice. That sounds good, man. Guys, I'm gonna see you guys in a few weeks.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
I don't
awesome.
know when
Brian,
you're
you
ready.
got this. You got this, dude. Just show up.
You say that. I have nothing right now. It sucks.
You've got plenty. Just show up, man. You're good.
Hey, listen, the family's showing up. That's all I can tell you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're all going to be there. You know.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be awesome.
Remember, when do you get there? Are you getting there Friday or Thursday?
Friday, yeah. It's a wife thing. When she's ready, and I can have the car all packed. I could have the dogs are taken care of. Everything is set, but not until she's actually in the car and the car is on and actually moving towards Ohio, then I can kind of gauge when I'm going to be there. So I can hope, but probably I'm hoping I'm about 4.5 hours, 4:45. So I'm hoping probably mid-afternoon I'll be there.
Okay.
How about you? When you flying in?
We get in really late Thursday night, so we'll be there all day Friday.
I thought about Thursday, but it's tricky.
So. Well, for me, the way my work schedule is, I work until 4:00 on Thursday, so we're heading right out after that, and so we should be landing into Columbus. I think close to midnight, 11 or midnight, something like that. But I'm not even going to the hotel first. I got to go check out that giant basket. That's the highlight of my whole trip.
I mean, yeah, we got to see the basket. What's in the picnic basket?
There's two different baskets, though. There's the giant building that's right down the road. But if you really wanted to see the world's largest basket, woven basket, it's further down in Dresden.
Okay. No, it's funny. I completely unrelated, and I'm sorry if it stretches this, but me and Gina were sitting here on the couch earlier in the week, and at one point I just decided to pull up, Newark, Ohio on YouTube to see like what was out there. And so it was funny because very quickly it was like 4 or 5 minutes. And then there was another one, but it was funny because it was the first video that came up was 10 great reasons why people are moving to Newark, Ohio. So we're watching this and then it was immediately a video after 10 reasons why everyone's leaving Newark, Ohio, but it turned out it was the same real estate agent who, like, I guess 4 years ago, she made these videos and there was nothing bad. It was actually, she was talking about, some people were saying that they wanted, a busier, crazier town. You know what I mean? Like, so for young people, it might not be
Right.
But she was talking about how safe it is and what a great city it is. So, but it was I love the architecture. To me, like I was looking at the city, and it looked like a very like almost something you'd see like 1950s 60s, kind of like a lot of the architecture, like Main Street kind of USA kind of stuff that you just don't see that often anymore. At least where I am, I don't see that anymore.
Right.
But very nostalgic.
It's Midwest, baby. Midwest. Absolutely. All right, guys. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you very much for being here. See Brian, talk to Brian, get some tickets, book a table if you can. It's not too late. And I look
Roll
forward
your damn dice.
Roll the dice. Bring your community project. It's going to be fun. Really look forward to seeing you guys there and everyone else that's coming to the show. I can't wait. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you, guys.